Hey love, and welcome back to my channel. And y'all, today we're going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about these edges, baby. These edges that are driving you guys crazy. Okay, so let's talk about these edges because I'm getting questions from clients, from people in my DMs and all this other stuff, just wanting to know what's going on. Is my hair about to fall out? Are my locks disappearing? Like, what's going on? Okay, so first I just want to say, relax, relate, you release. This is normal. Okay, so if you are struggling with your hairline, it is normal, okay? Especially if it's around the temple area. Look at my client right here who, listen, we've done put this lock back in 50 million times. She's locked over 2 years now, and her hairline is still struggling. So if you are struggling with your hairline, especially the temple area, if you have locks in your temple area that keeps coming undone, if it keeps shedding, breaking off, and not retaining length, what else? If it's just not doing what it's supposed to be doing, if it's not locking, it is completely normal, okay? It is completely normal. So the reason why, here's a new lock I had to put in on my client, right? And you can see the end of it is in my hand. As I was putting in the new lock, the hair that sheds, daily came out as I was putting in the new lock. So that is very typical because your hair is shedding every day. Every day. Every day you are losing like 100 strands a day, okay? So because of that, if the hair that is shedding out of your head, falling out of your head, if your hair is not locked and it's short and the lock is skinny, it is going to find its way, or it's going to work its way and detach itself from the hair that is still attached to your scalp. Okay, so you see right here where it's like a little ball right there, that hair will eventually fall out because the hair is trying to mat and lock up, but it's not enough strands. And the skinnier your locks are, the difficult it is for it to lock because it's not enough strands, or it's just a little bit of strands that it has to work with to mat and to lock. So that's why you'll see a lot of times people will have locks around their hairline, and the locks around their hairline are a lot larger because the hair around the hairline, especially the temple area, is typically finer, the density is lower. So because of that, this lady has, that lock is skinny, but the box part is wider, but it's still fewer strands of hair in that area. So you can see right here that lock slipped. So now I have to go back in and lock the hair. Pretty much put in that lock again because it slipped. The end is still holding on, but eventually, if it's not tightened, it will you'll lose that end of the lock. So if you're experiencing this, expect to experience this for about up to 3 years, honestly. When I was locking in the beginning, the first 3 years, listen, some of them had to be combined. Some of them eventually locked, but the first 3 years is going to be frustrating. But I promise you, if you leave that thing alone and stop messing with it, it won't slip. So it won't slip as much. Some people will be just fine, but if you keep manipulating it and touching it and moving it, all you're doing is disturbing the locking process when you keep touching it. That's why we tell you, keep your hands out your hair. Keep your hands out your hair, okay? Because you're disturbing the locking process. It's trying to lock, but you're disturbing it. And then keep in mind, we got to wash it so it gets disturbed even more. And it's fewer strands in that lock. It's shorter, it's finer. So it's not a lot, there's not a lot holding it in place. So that is why we say just leave it alone. But if you keep messing with it, it's going to keep thinning out and it's going to keep falling out. Okay. And then some of y'all locticians will eventually get tired of you and just be like, I'm going to combine this with another lock. Okay. And some of y'all don't want to combine. Sometimes it needs to be combined, especially if it's too skinny. If it's too skinny, it's just strands, combine it. But some of y'all be like, oh Lord, I can't combine this. I don't want to have one less lock, but it's gonna benefit you in the long run. So people with traditional locks typically tend to have they retain the locks around their hairline because their locks are thicker. So here is an example of one of my clients. She has you see how that lock is thick, fine, and it's barely making it right. It's the thicker area is where some strands have shedded from the head, and then it's in between. So you have hair that fell out, and it's just trying to hold on. And the few strands the fine strand, they're trying to hold on to their life, right? Okay, so you see that on this side for that struggling lock, the base of the lock is pretty good, right? Pretty sturdy, but the hair only grows so long and the length retention is struggling. And so you have those in between pieces, right? And then if you look at the lock on top of it, that lock is wider. So because it is wider, it has more strands in the lock, and because it has more strands in the lock, it gives it a more sturdier strand of lock. These locks look big in the picture, but child baby, her locks are not that big, okay? So keep in mind the pictures, you know how camera and photos put 10 pounds on, an extra 10 pounds? It does the same with the hair. It makes the locks look bigger when they're not that big at all. So, and she has Sisterlocs. So I did not establish her locks. Someone else did. All I do is maintain. And so, yep, we're having the struggling edges. So if you are experiencing this, it is completely fine. If you're a loctician and need support and want to learn how to assist your clients, want to learn how to deal with this, fix it, or anything like that, you should consider taking one of my courses, okay? Because I go into detail showing how to repair, how to fix, and do all of that. So take one of my courses. You will not regret it. And if you take my signature complete lock course, it has a membership attached to it. So if you have any questions or comments, put it in the comment box, and I will be happy to answer as many questions as I can. I know I'm behind. There's so many comments, so I'm playing catch up, but trust me, I will get to it when I can. But if you have any questions, put it in there. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you have not done so.